Sienna, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how I changed my millennial gray living room into a beautiful transitional modern space. Now, we just moved into this house and there's no budget to rip out the honey oak floors, but I did some really simple DIYs just on a very small budget. The first thing we had to do was paint the gray walls. So once those gray walls were gone, I was left with a room that was just really white and honestly, very boring. There's no character in here. This week I'm going to show you how I transform this living room with very simple DIYs that anyone can do. I'm talking about picture frame molding and faux lime wash. This wall behind me needs some pizzazz, and my favorite way of adding pizzazz is with picture frame molding. So this is just a really simple project that I'm gonna do, very inexpensive, and I've done it so many times, and I feel like every time I do it, it adds so much classiness to the room. So the one thing you absolutely have to think about is like how you're gonna plan around the outlets, right? Like these things. So on this side, I would love to actually bring it inside of the outlet, but then this is a very big gap. This is 8 inches. I usually try and opt for like 5 inches. So like I have to think about that. And then here too, this one I'll probably make this box going this way. And then this one, there will have to be one that goes through this, which is fine actually. And also like the sofa will be covering it, but there's just sometimes that you can't do anything about those types of outlets. It's just the way that the house is built. I have this worksheet on my blog and it's basically all about how to plan an accent wall, and I have never used it, so this is a perfect opportunity for me to make sure it works and then tweak it on this wall right here. Okay, so first thing you need to do is set your saw to a 45-degree angle. So I'm just gonna turn it, and it's really helpful to have a saw that actually goes both ways. So and it'll click in. So there, it clicked in. I like to start off by actually cutting all my edges at the 45 degree. So this is the trim that I'm using. This is the profile. There's lots of different trims. This is just the one I've used the most. The first thing we're gonna do is just cut off one end. So that's what the cut looks like. That's a 45-degree angle cut right there. So let's say I want my piece to be 5 inches, again, just to give you an example. You always want to measure from the outside, because when you build your box, that's going to be like the outside. So I would measure at the top, and I mark at the top as well, okay? Because you want to always, I feel like it's so much easier to just measure the outside angle. So now to make these shapes, I'm going to switch my blade. Okay, this is going to go to the other side. I'm going to flip it all the way over. I'm gonna mark it. I'm gonna actually set up a stop block. The best thing you can do to get accuracy and all your cuts when you're doing like 8 or 6 cuts is to set up a stop block. So for me, what I like to do is I place my saw in place and then I use the end of my garage door. You could also, if you don't have a garage door, like clamp something to the end. So, but the idea is like every piece of wood that I put here now, it's always gonna be at the same spot. It's always gonna be cutting from the same spot and be the same length. We're ready to get going, and the first thing I have to show you is the profile of the trim, because people always ask me what type of trim did you use. So this trim in particular is thicker on one side and then thinner, and it has this kind of rounded look to it when you look at it up close. You can buy whatever kind of trim you like. This is the kind I've always used, and I always use primed wood because it's just one step that you can skip. Like, you don't have to prime your wood. Sometimes if you use bare wood, it's actually really hard to get all those knots away in the wood. So I like using primed wood. Okay, that's the profile. Second thing is I always use a pin nailer when I'm doing these type of accent walls. I have a really in-depth video on brad nailers versus pin nailers and when to use each. This just gives me peace of mind that I'm not gonna be like bursting any pipes because these nails are so tiny. Like, okay, they have no head either, which makes it really great that when you actually go See how thin they are? When you actually go to do your finishing work, you can just paint it. You don't need to fill any nail holes, which I love. Just skip that step, okay? I also have the spacer. I cut this 4.5-inch spacer because that's how wide all my spaces will be. I've also used a laser level in the past, but I don't know if you really, you don't always need it. We'll see if I grab one. And then you need a level as well. So you need your spacer and a level. So we can get started. So I'm gonna put my spacer up here. I line this up to the top because I already have that one there. And then I put this spacer here. Okay, so this is gonna make sure it's actually straight. You have to be really careful when you're marking it. Okay. And I marked it a little bit long because it's always okay to have it long and cut it a bit shorter, but you can never get length back, right? So that's how I marked that. So I actually did set up my laser level. I just thought it'd be easier. So the way I've set it up to start with is that I'm gonna take this tape off obviously. So it goes right up to the tip there. And then this is our this is our vertical line that we're gonna be working with. And then we'll adjust it to do the horizontal. So remember, I'm just using the vertical line right now. And once you get into the groove, it actually goes really fast. So now to build the next box, you need your level and your spacer. Okay, so I'm gonna build my first piece over here, but I need to make sure it's the right distance away from the wall. So I always mark it with a pencil, okay? This is I feel like the easiest way. I'm gonna mark this. So one line going this way, and then the other one is why you like to use a spacer. Now I have my corner of where my box is going to start, okay? So, we continue on. Okay, spacer here. Okay. Again, this is why you gotta make sure everything is level because the spacer is just there to guide you. So if your first one is off, then all of them are going to be off. So it's level. Actually, I didn't cut the length yet. I wasn't 100% sure of the measurements, so I'm gonna measure it now. See, I thought it was gonna be 27 based on my measurement, but this is saying 26.5. So I'd rather use my spacer to make my life easier. Okay, I have a little tip for this last piece. So oftentimes it's not perfectly perfect, it's just so close. So don't nail the very edges of these boards because then you can kind of squeeze them together. So here. And if you think about it, I would much rather have the piece that's above, that joint be perfect, and then the one sitting behind the couch, no one really sees it, so. Alright, so that's the first panel of the wall is done. And we're just gonna continue on this way. I'm actually gonna build the last box next. I didn't cut all the horizontal boards for the middle one, because again, you just might have some errors in your measurements and it's good to just, not waste your trim that way. So I always like to build my first two boxes, like the ones on the ends, and then do the center one last because you can account for any miscalculations or errors. So now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure the distance between these two boards, and then we can figure out what the length of these should be. Okay, the last thing we have to tackle is this. Thankfully, it will be hidden behind the sofa, but even though it's hidden behind the sofa, we still need to make the box, right? Now, remember when I said you have to plan for outlets and vents? So look at this, okay? This is the perfect height that I do not need to notch into this outlet, okay? This is really important that you plan for this ahead of time. If you run into this situation, it's okay, you can use your jigsaw and just cut this out, but ideally you just don't have to do that. So I'm just gonna measure and mark this, okay? So I'm just gonna go one across, then I have one to do in the corner there. Tiny corner to go. Let's get him. Let's get him. Okay, so before we move on to caulking, there's one last thing I want you to check, which is some of these really big gaps that you might have. Just go in with your pin nailer and secure it down. We are definitely gonna caulk still, but this will just help some of those edges come together a bit cleaner, okay? Like here, like if I show you this, look, you can see how big this gap is, okay? So we're just gonna go in and just nail it. It is time to caulk this wall, and this is one of the steps that I actually love doing because this is what's gonna make your walls have that really professional finish. So you need a caulk. It has to be a paintable caulk, okay? And then you just make a really, really, really small hole in the tip. Do not make a big hole. If you do, you'll just get a ton of gunk. I actually like to cut mine on a cutting board. I don't use this hole here. Okay, I cut it on a cutting board with a knife. Okay, you can store these and use them lots of times. Like that. So I just need to open mine up because this is a bit older. So it's got this little puncture, which looks like a needle to puncture it, okay? Just to loosen it up, okay? The way you load this into the gun is you simply put it in, okay? And then this is the trigger, okay? And then you feel the resistance, okay? And now you're ready to caulk, okay? So make sure you cut the tip on an angle, and then you're gonna put that angled part into the wall. And now this is the funniest part. I cannot believe this, but I do not have any baby wipes left. I was like, where are my baby wipes? I usually use baby wipes. So I cut up my son's old pajamas, got a bit of water. So you just need like a damp cloth. It doesn't have to be baby wipes. Baby wipes are just really easier. Just glide the caulking gun along that edge, and you're just pulling the trigger very gently. If you pull it too much, you're just gonna get caulking oozing every single place. So do a couple of edges and then go in with your damp rag or baby wipe and wipe off the excess, and you'll see that you'll get a nice clean finish. I also like to use caulking on the seams where the two pieces meet. I feel like it's a lot easier to get into that joint and make it really smooth. All that's left to do is paint the wall. So I'm just using the exact same paint that I used for the wall. So my walls are all white Dove, and then we're done. And the best thing here is because I'm using primed boards and I use that pin nailer, Literally, this should take me 10 minutes to just finish up. Okay, so just watch how all these pinholes just get covered up. Like, I don't need to fill them or anything, okay? There's one here, here, here. Bye-bye. Where did they go? Oh, we don't care. They're gone. I'm so happy with how this molding wall turned out. This is one of those things that you can do in any space, in hallways, in bedrooms, in a library, and it just adds so much character without being overly powerful and gives your home a very elevated look. While this room is coming along beautifully, I just feel like the room is now too white, so I have a fireplace that I think we can add a little pizzazz to. I'm doing a faux lime wash technique, and what that basically means is that I've got two similar colors. One is lighter and one is darker. This is a great project to do if you have some samples lying around, or just grab some. And instead of actually using real lime wash, I'm just using paint. So what you need is the samples, and then you need like a really big bristle brush, and the bristles should be a little bit stiff. I've never done this, but I saw this tutorial by my friend Heather, so I'll just see how it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna tape off to start and then we'll get painting. I'm not sure if I'm gonna paint the baseboard yet, so I'm just gonna tape off the baseboard for now, and we'll figure out the baseboard after. I'm still kind of on the fence of what I'm gonna do with this tile. I actually like the tile, but I'm not sure if it goes with the flow of the room. I made this little contraption in my paint tray just with foil. So there's a little foil divider in between there, and you can put one coat of paint or one color of paint on each side. And I'm using Accessible Beige by Sherwin-Williams on one side, and then Ivory Brown by Valspar. These are just samples I had, so you can just spend like $10 to do this project. We're gonna start by dipping the brush into both the colors. So you dip into both colors, and then we're gonna kind of swish swash. I don't know what the official term is for that. Oh wow, that's actually really nice. Cool, okay. I wasn't sure, but it actually looks really good. Okay. So what you don't want to do is like blend the colors, because you want to keep like the distinction between the two colors. So like if you don't get the full coverage, it's okay. We're gonna go back and do like a second kind of coat. See, like down here, I'm getting like one color only. They blended, so you want to keep two colors. One helpful tip is that when you're doing this, if you find that the colors are blending too much, just go and wash your brush and dry it off. Eventually on the brush, the colors kind of mix together, so you want to keep that distinction of two colors to really get that lime wash look. That looks pretty cool. I'm not sure about leaving the baseboards white, so I think we should just lime wash those as well. I'm also not really sure what I should do with this tile. I kind of want to change it, but I don't want to do like a whole big demo project. So I had these peel and stick tiles left over from old projects, so I'm just testing them out to see what we think. So I think that one's like too gray. And then this one, the white on it is like too cold. It doesn't go with the room. And then this one's actually the best matching, but then I'm kind of like, do we like it? All right, let's finish this up by adding the faux lime wash to the baseboards too.
Okay, let's get the room set back up. I've had this couch for a few years. This is the article leather couch, and I really love how it's holding up, but I didn't really love all these throw pillows I had, so I got some inexpensive throw pillow covers from Amazon, and they're just really cute. They have the kind of, modern transitional vibe I'm going for. And there's that coffee table I made last week as well. Okay, and here it is, the fireplace. I feel like this is such a cute little addition to this room by adding this faux lime wash. It's not too dark, it doesn't stand out too much, but it adds a little bit of depth and character to the space. In the end, I decided to just leave the tile. I kind of like this green earthy tone, and I like how it really goes with this rug as well.
So I hope you love this video and you can see how easy it was to really transform the space. The biggest thing that I did was throw a coat of paint up on the wall and do the picture frame molding and add this really, really nice faux lime wash to the fireplace. So if you love this video, make sure you subscribe because this is one of the best budget DIYs I've done. I'll see you next time and keep DIYing.